Hey guys, good afternoon or morning whenever you're watching this video. My name is Mr. Smith. I'm the U.S. History teacher and World II teacher at Franklin High School, and I'm so excited today to talk to you about Constitutional Day with some special guests.
Good afternoon, students. My name is Rose Parker, and I am a retired social studies teacher with Franklin High School. I'm happy to be with you today. Voting is one of my passions, and we want to get the vote out.
What's up, Broncos? This is Mrs. Malachi. I'm your U.S. History and Government teacher. I'm very, very excited to be celebrating with you today. For those of you that do not know, September 17th is Constitution Day for us. It's the day that we celebrate such greatness in our country that we are fortunate enough to have a living document that provides us with certain rights and protects those rights so that we may be active citizens in one of the very few democracies around the world.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you said that, Ms. Malachi, because one of our biggest rights we have through the Constitution is being able to vote. We're going to piggyback this idea of Constitutional Day. Many of you that are watching this video, if you're in our classes or not, are 17 years old. If you're 17 years old, you can register to vote today. If you're going to be 18 years old by November 3rd, you can vote in this election cycle. There's nothing more important than being able to vote and cast your ballot. It gives you a voice in our society. So we're going to show you a video right now about a young man who has some issues with voting and why he should vote. I want you to really pay attention to this video and really try to pick out some of the issues that many communities are facing and some ways that we can change our own communities through voting.
Electoral votes, more than 270, more than enough to become the 44th President of the United States. He will be the first African-American President of the United States.
I've been broke all my life, but I kept hope all them nights. You see business in my city? Yeah, they closed all them twice. I was just riding down Salem, all them damn potholes I can't drive. I know y'all can fix it faster, but I know y'all won't try. Don't nobody care about us. And that's why I don't vote. Voted for Obama back in 2012. I remember that's when I had hope. He was saying, yes, we can. And everybody got less food stamps. And when I turned 21, I was still broke. I'd never vote again. I don't think I ever had a president make my life better. Did it all on my own. Ain't no politician ever do a nice gesture. I don't even know the man's name. I ain't never seen her one time ever. Tell me how she gonna help the city. What I'm supposed to do, write letters? What I'm supposed to do, blame Trump? He ain't never really gave Ain't nobody raised minimum wage. None of these jobs pay enough. I think they just want to keep us broke, cause they ain't putting nothing in place for us. This how all my people feel, but we gotta learn. We complained enough, let me change it up. Everything I just said, everybody I know think the same way. See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do, okay y'all? See, they election every 2 years, but we don't ever even go to those. The Congress, they can raise minimum wage, but we ain't even really know it though. So you know how back in 08, when we all voted for Obama, we was all supposed to go back in 2010 and vote for the Congress. Cause they the ones make child support laws, they the ones choose if your kids at school get to eat steak or corn dogs. The State House make the court costs. So if the country failed, then you can't say it's them, it's your fault. Cause y'all ain't know to vote for Congress members that was for y'all. And they don't gotta leave after 4 years, and we just let them sit. See, they don't wanna tell you this, they want you to focus on the president. Now the 3rd branch is the judicial, that's judges. They the reason why John Crawford and Trayvon ain't had justice. So when Meek Mill got locked up just for popping willies, we blame the judge and not the city when they let her get voted in. Cause they ain't know who to vote against. chance. Imagine life on the other side. Roads better, schools better, everybody get their license back. Grocery store food better, custody of your kids back. Homeless people get new shelters. If we gon' fix the U.S., we gotta start with them 2 letters. Me and you. Somebody told us that the government wanna keep us broke, but the only reason why those people in the government is cause we ain't vote. And I ain't talking about the president, I'm talking about the ones we ain't know. See, they was gonna try to keep it low, but it's gonna hurt them when they see the polls.
Every time you stay home, someone is making a decision about you, making decisions about the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food your kids eat, and how much money you bring home every 2 weeks. So every time you sit out an election, every time you don't show up because you think it doesn't matter, someone else is happy that you didn't show up, so they can make that decision for you. Vote.
When the Constitution was written, everyone could not vote. Only white males who own property could vote. But because the Constitution is a living document, that has changed. More people can now vote. You cannot be denied the right to vote because of your race, because of your age, even if you have served time in jail. If you are a convicted felon, you have served your time, you are not under supervision, yes, you can vote. Today, we want you to register to vote if you are eligible, and that means that you must be at least 18 or you must celebrate your 18th birthday by Election Day, which is November 3rd. There are some dates that you want to keep in mind. Now, the 18th, which is Friday, that is when early voting begins, and you can go into your local registrar or you can request an absentee ballot, but you, of course, must register first, and that will take a few days to be processed. Now, your registrar is located in downtown Franklin, across from Fred's Restaurant, and I don't think you'll have any trouble finding it. But 18th of September is the first day that you can actually vote. So please share that information with your parents, your friends, grandparents, your neighbors. Most of those individuals should be registered to vote. And if they are not, it's your job to encourage them to do just that. There are some deadlines associated with voting. On October 13th, that is the deadline to register. So even though you may not have turned 18, you may still register, and that will have you on the books come November 3rd. October 23rd is the deadline to request an absentee ballot, that an absentee ballot be mailed to you. And this is crucial for your parents. If they work during the day and cannot get to the polls, this is the best way. And in this age of coronavirus and having to social distance, it is the best way to vote. So please remind your parents, your neighbors, your friends out of town, your friends away in college, to please go ahead and make that request. The October 31st, you can go in person up until that time to request an absentee ballot. And of course, Election Day, the most important day on the ballot, that is the day we go in and we choose the representatives that are going to make decisions on our behalf.
Hey Broncos, it's Mrs. Malachi again. I'm wanting to encourage you all on the Constitution Day, to go out and exercise your right to vote. I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power, and he who controls knowledge controls all the power. And a lot of times we find throughout history that withholding knowledge is withholding how much power you'll truly have. The thing about that is that we live in a democracy where we, the people, are supposed to have all the power. Abraham Lincoln is quoted as saying that our government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And this is important that you know, because you need to know that on voting day, you have the power to decide how our future is going to be. Now, this being the Constitution Day, I want to touch on the fact that part of the information you need to know is where to find things. Throughout history, there have been loopholes that people, government, political officials have used to try to keep us from voting. And I want to share that with you so that you have the evidence that you need to make an informed decision. Now, our Constitution is a living document, and it was written to evolve with us as we face the challenges over time. One of those that we're going to look at is if you go to Article 1 in the Constitution, that is what gives the states the right to oversee federal elections, which means each state can come up with their own laws, rules, and regulations and procedures for voting. Now, long ago, as we all know, when the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution was written, there was a statement that said that all men are created equal. But as we've learned throughout history, that is not, in fact, the case. All men weren't created equal. For the longest portion of our history, African American males were denied the right to exercise their right to vote. However, that all changed in the year of 1870 with the 15th Amendment, where African American men were finally given the right to vote. However, this was a huge win, but the downside to that is that there was a loophole that was used to deny them their right to exercise that vote. They came up with poll taxes and literacy tests, which oftentimes meant that they were unable to vote. You see, at this time, education was not an opportunity afforded to all individuals. Neither was the opportunity to make and provide a healthy living wage for their families. So they couldn't afford the poll taxes, and they definitely couldn't pass the literacy test. A few years later, that changes when we see the creation of the Civil Rights Act of 1870. And this was meant to help support the 15th Amendment and enforce the fact that states would be prohibited from denying the right to vote based on race. We see a few years later that that isn't enough for us. We are still seeing a whole sector of the population being denied the right to vote, women. However, with the creation of the 19th Amendment in 1920, women are now guaranteed the right to vote. And boy, did we ever come out in droves so that our voices could be heard. We see again in the 24th Amendment that we tackle one of the biggest issues that are keeping people from voting. This is where we see an amendment that is added to the Constitution which eliminates poll taxes in order to vote. And then with the passing of the 26th Amendment, which applies mainly for all of you guys today, this is what allows you to vote at age 18. It lowered the required age you needed to be, which is huge in our nation's history. We go back to the Civil Rights Act, which has been initially redone over the course of a few years. The initial issuance of the Civil Rights Act in 1870 is what makes sure that it supports the 15th Amendment, that African American men are allowed to vote. But then in 1957, it is expanded yet again. And in 1960, it is expanded to probably its biggest form, where now they are saying you can't be denied the right to vote based on your race, section of origin, color, religion, or you can't be discriminated based on those criteria. This was huge because it means no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, your worth of an individual, which is one of the principles of democracy, cannot be challenged or taken away. So on November 3rd, please go out, rock your vote, let your voice be heard, and forever change the course of history. Let this be the first election that your generation shows up and shows out and roars like never before. The power and the future is in your hands.
So guys, I want to wrap this up by talking a little bit what Ms. Malachi talked about. She mentioned suffrage. In American history, we learn about suffrage is the giving the people, giving groups of people who are not allowed to vote the right to vote. I had a history teacher in high school told me that because of suffrage, we do not suffer, but if we do not vote, we will suffer. So I want to encourage you today to use your voice. If you are a high school student, your voice matters. We have people who make decisions every day for you as a high school student. During this coronavirus outbreak, many decisions were made on your behalf. And if you don't vote, the people making those decisions might not be making them in your best interest. So to do that, we need to register to vote. So your opinions and ideas matter. If you like your society or community, you should still vote to keep it that way. If you see what's going around you, like our video was showing how there's issues in our cities and you want to change it, the best way you can do that is to vote. So over the next few days, if you're in my classes, you'll get to work with me to register to vote. But if you're not in my class or Miss Malachi's class this semester and you want some help, we can help you register to vote. It is an easy form that you fill out online. It's a 3-step form. But the only things you need to register to vote or your driver's license if you have a driver's license, or an ID, a state issued one. If you do not have a driver's license or state ID, not an issue. It will not keep you from registering to vote. All you have to do is type in or click you don't have one, and I will help you do that. Then you'll have to print out this form and take it into your local registrar's office. And you will definitely need your social security number. I will not put that number in for you. That is a very secure number that you should not be handing out, but you'll put it in and your birthday, and that's the only 3 things you need to vote is your driver's license or your state issued ID card, your social security number, and your birthday. If you have these things, you can register to vote. Over the next few days, I'll be working with students in my classes to register to vote. But if you feel like you need some help and would like to register to vote, you can email me anytime at jsmith@fcpsva.org, and I will be glad to set up a Zoom meeting and work with you virtually to get you registered to vote. It is my dream that we set the record this year at Franklin High School for having the most students register to vote and have the most students vote altogether. So just thank you for giving us a minute of your time this morning. And I just appreciate Franklin as a high school that we're going to get behind this initiative, get everyone we can register to vote, and help us change our community by giving all of us a voice.
Hello again. I just want to remind all of you that your right to vote is crucial, not just in the upcoming presidential election, but at elections at every level, local, state, and of course at the federal level. Just one little note on the Electoral College. I want you to understand that it is not a college like Paul D. Camp or Virginia Tech. The Electoral College is actually a number of people equal in number to senators plus representatives, plus 3 for the District of Columbia. Virginia has 11 congressional members, plus 2 US senators. That means that we have 13 electoral votes. And based upon the popular vote in Virginia, that candidate will receive the electoral votes. So if they carry the state of Virginia by majority vote, they will receive all of Virginia's electoral votes. And then, of course, they're counted over the evening of the actual election, and they're counted up, and you have to receive a given number in order to be declared the winner. So it is important that you not only vote, but that you follow the election returns all through the evening of November 3rd. In Washington, D.C., though it is not one of the 50 states, receives 3 votes because that is the least number that a state is entitled to. D.C. is our federal district.
So please help us celebrate Constitution Day. Help us let you get registered to vote, and let's rock the vote on November 3rd. Happy Constitution Day.